In fact, all three of them being 13 lappers around the creek. This is how they'll line up. Mark Scape on pole, and all HRT front row because Craig Lowndes is alongside him. And it's Garth Tander and Russell Ingall. Paul Radisich, the first of the Ford drivers. Longhurst, Seaton and Bow.
Out of 9, Todd Kelly, big improver, and the Holden Young Lions Commodore Neil Crompton alongside in the FTR Ford. Craig Baird and Jason Bargwana out of row 6. Out of row 7, Stephen Johnson and Larry Perkins, John Faulkner. Stephen Richards will start out of 8.
It's been a disastrous weekend for the Kmart racing team, and Greg Murphy didn't end up going that well either. As you can see there, he starts out of position 18, just behind his former Super Touring teammate Brad Jones. Paul Wheel and Dougal McDougall from row 10, Mark Larkham and Cameron McConnell on row 11, and Stephen Ellery and Cameron McLean.
Greg Ritter and Peter Dillman, Paul Morris, long way back in the Big Kev Commodore, Thomas Mazzero alongside Mark Poole and Rodney Forbes, Anthony Tratt, another of the Fords, and Mick Donoghue.
Around them out for you, Reed, Romano, Ashby, Smurden and Heath. Barry Sheen, a big field of cars here.
Oh, quite incredible. And when you see how far some of the good guys are back, you know, that shows you the quality, the depth of quality in that. Incidentally, Stephen Johnson has been struggling this weekend. He's got a nerve trapped in his right arm, and he's been at the acupuncture guy chiropractor all the week, so that's why Johnson's struggling. Mitre 10 race cam shows you Mark Larkham in action. We'll bring you plenty of pickies from the Mitre 10 Ford. He'll be looking for a good result this weekend. Has had an up and down weekend thus far. Was up in practice. No signs today on the feet that we're used to seeing from Larko.
Good to see Brad Jones back too. Anyone who's watching the Clipsal 500 telecast at Adelaide, remember Brad did a spectacular rollover in the car. And the crew, together with members of the TAFE crash repair team, worked around the clock back at his workshops in Albury to get that car back in action.
Brad carrying our Carlton and United in car. This is the Be Clear and Simple camera aboard the Black Cat Falcon with John Bow.
Glenn Seaton, bit of a star at Adelaide, and looking for a strong run here. He's qualified quite well, 7th. Was hoping to be a little bit further up the order. This car has responded very well to the 2000 specification Bridgestone control tyre, probably more so than a lot of the Fords, and Seaton looking much stronger at the creek. Here's the wrap, Paul Radisich, fastest of the Fords in qualifying, finds himself in 5th behind a quartet of Commodores.
Should also make welcome viewers right around Australia through the 10 network and in New Zealand through TV1 for round 4 of the Shell Championship Series. Great shot out the front there of the Shell Helix Racing Falcon as they make their way down the front straight. Here's your Ford race analysis. 38 starters in this one. As I mentioned before, 3 13-lappers. They equate around this 3.9 kilometre long Eastern Creek circuit to 51 kilometres. And of course, last year's winner, he won 2 races. And his teammate Craig Lowndes finished 1st in the 3rd, but it was good enough for Scafey to walk away the round winner.
Well, Mark Scaife was very impressive in qualifying yesterday. Still about 0.3 of a second away from his qualifying record, which he set last year, a 1:30.65. He was about 0.3 away from that, but considering they expected to be about half a second faster here if they were on the old tyres, that's still showing good progress, because that new tyre, even though it's very durable, it has proven to be a little bit slower than last year's rubber. So good, strong effort from Holden Racing Team, once again proving that they are the masters of knocking their cars into shape faster than anyone. They really do a great job in qualifying.
Yeah, I was talking to Garth Tander about 10 minutes ago, and he was saying that they tried something in the warm-up this morning that he was suffering mid-corner speed and not being as quick as the HRT cars, and he says they reckon they found it. So we're going to find out pretty soon, aren't we?
Certainly will do. All just about in readiness for a start.
Look at the Enforcer sitting up there in 4th position. He's had a very strong qualifying run. He's way down in the points, so he's got nothing to lose. 11th in the point standings. We get the green flag.
We get set to go racing here at the creek. The first of 3 13-lappers for round 4 of the Shell Championship Series. Will it be Lowndes or will it be Scaife, or will we see the likes of Russell Ingall charge through? We are underway and it's green. A great start by Tander. A drag race between the Holden Racing teammates down into turn 1 for the first time. Scaife's got the inside running.
Radisich, good start.
Yeah, terrific start by Radisich. They sweep through the fast left-hander turn 1, and it looks as though at this stage they're all through there fairly cleanly. And now down towards turn 2. Scaife's got the upper hand. Look at Tander on the outside having a run. Lowndes is up there as well. Big field, and luckily no incident so far, which is a surprise. Tander sits there in 3rd place behind the defending series champion Craig Lowndes, who covers his line down into turn 4, but your leader is Mark Scaife, so it's Scaife from Lowndes. We go back to 3rd and it's Tander. Ingall's up there, so too Radisich. Radisich in between, in fact.
Yeah, Russell Engel will be kicking himself there. He's ahead of Radicic on the grid. The car just bogged down a little bit. He finds himself in behind the Shell Ford.
Yeah, it looked like he was getting a lot of wheel spin, Mark. He was sitting out there smoking and going nowhere.
So the order at the moment, Scaife using his pole position to advantage. Lowndes and Scaife got away equally well, but Scaife being on the inside, that's where you wanted to be for that swing through turn 1, so he took maximum advantage of that. Leads him down through turn 9. Lowndes in behind him. Garth Tander in 3rd position. Radicic in the first of the Fords in 4th. Then it's back to Engel in the first of the FTR Falcons.
We saw Glenn Seaton getting his rear left off into the dirt there on the exit of turn 9. He's really trying, and the reason for that, he's under pressure from John Bowe, who sits just in behind him. Here is your race leader, Mark Scaife, the pole sitter from teammate Craig Lowndes. Tander in 3rd place, then it's Radicic. A great start. He's already moved up 1 position from his qualifying point, if you like. And is now in 4th place ahead of Engel, Seaton, Bowe. Then it's Kelly. We've got problems there for Steve Reed. That's on the exit of turn 12, coming onto the front straight. They sweep again through turn 1. The Holden Racing team have assumed command.
Yeah, its position's normal. Still Mark Scaife dominant here, and indeed his teammate Craig Lowndes last year.
Now Jason Barguana's coming into the pit, so there's some sort of problem there for the second of the Valvoline Cummins Commodores. Not quite sure what happened. We'll try and get a replay of that for you and have a look, possibly also what happened to Steve Reed.
Oh, yes, it's a bit of a touch there. He got turned round by, who's that, Stephen Ellery? Yeah, it is, Stephen Ellery. Yeah, just a little tap on the inside left, and that's what happens.
Down in pit lane there is Bargs, and that is obviously terminal. The youngster is out of the car, and that is not a good way to start his day when you consider, Mark, that he finished in 3rd place in the second race of the Clipsal 500, so he was on a high coming into this round.
The Valvoline Cummins cars from the Gary Rogers stable have always been very reliable, so that's a surprising out for Jason Barguana, and unfortunately that puts him right at the back of the grid for the start of Heat 2. This is looking out the back of the Shell Helix number 18 Falcon of Paul Radicic.
Yeah, it seems to accelerate really good, that thing of Radicic is pulling away, came out of the hairpin really nice.
No, Dougal McDougall!
Dear me, what's going on there? Looked like, oh, it is smoke. I thought it looked like steam to start off with.
Not quite sure where on the circuit that is. We might have a replay of that coming up in a minute, but a bit of problem for the Pepsi Commodore. Stranded out there on the track, but the order continues. Scaife, Lowndes, Tander, Radicic, Engel, Glenn Seaton, John Bowe back in 7th, Tony Longhurst, Neil Crompton, and Craig Baird in the Pertec Falcon. Rounds out the top 10.
Yeah, the front 3 are pulling away from just fractionally from Radicic now, by the looks of it.
Now this could be interesting because the officials are having difficulty moving Dougal McDougall's Pepsi Commodore from turn 9 where he has spun, and he's been unable to restart that car. Now these guys are currently in turn 4 on the circuit, so they will be in that vicinity of the track very, very quickly. There is Garth Tander sitting in 3rd place at the moment.
Well, they'll have, if they can't move it, they'll have the yellow flags out, and obviously when the flags are out, you're not allowed to pass or anything, so we'll have to wait and see when they get there.
Fastest lap so far for Mark Scaife, a 1:33.56 for the Holden Racing Team driver. That's still a long way away from the lap record, though, a 1:31.75 set by Craig Lowndes.
They come down to turn 9 here, Mark. This is where McDougall's car is parked. They're waving the yellow flag.
Got it out of the way
just in time, in the nick of time, the officials, so that's good work. Scaife continues to lead from Lowndes. Then it's Tander, and a bit of a gap back to 4th place now to Paul Radicic. Let's check out the Shell Helix replay.
Oh, what's this? This is... no, that's it. Oh, that's Steve Richards. A little bit of a tap there by the looks of it. Oh, Richards did well to hang on to it.
Now that's a separate incident because that's at turn 4. This is down at turn 9.
Yeah.
Now there's been contact there.
Yeah, just... Oh,
I think that was Stephen Richards again.
Yeah, I think it was, actually.
So those two blokes were trading blows all the way around that track. Unfortunately, McDougall's come off second best. And we hear from the pits that the reason for Jason Barguana's retirement was another collision with Stephen Richards. Apparently bent the steering arm on the Valvoline Cummins car, so that's why he's had to retire. So Stephen Richards has really been in the wars in the opening laps.
He's fired up. The word too is that McDougall's car can't be restarted for whatever reason, so that will be parked off to the edge of turn 9 for the remainder of this race. There's your race score. Scaife leads from Lowndes, Tander and Radicic. We go back, Engel, Seaton, Bowe and Longhurst. Brad Jones on screen here fighting away with John Faulkner.
Yeah, going well.
He was in the wars yesterday. Faulkner had a bit of an altercation very late in the session with Russell Engel, and not only did they trade blows on the circuit, but they traded words off the circuit as well.
It'd be interesting to see if anything happens to, if that was Stephen Richards that 2 bangs and another bang with barbed wire. It'd be interesting to see if the officialdom is consistent. You know, it's been pretty good this year, and they've penalised a few people, and it'd be interesting, I suppose, they'd be wanting to have a look at our footage, won't they?
Was the miracle story of the season so far. The resurrection of the Aussie male Falcon of Brad Jones. Anyone who caught that horrific accident he had at Adelaide said the car ended up on its roof, very heavily damaged. The boys have been working flat out to get it back in race trim.
Oh, Bradley sits so close, doesn't he? Look. Idea how quick it is. So that's the fast left-hander at the end of the straight. Coming to the hairpin.
Brad at the moment, for those of you possibly from Albury that are following his progress, which is where he hails from, in 13th place at the moment in the Aussie Male Falcon, which is a fantastic effort. The team, by their own admission, have worked so hard at repairing this car, worked day and night to do it. They've had a couple of testing days at Winton trying to get it right. They thought they had a good package, and they came here, and all the data they'd acquired, they virtually had to throw out the window. They said it was virtually a pig. It was handling terribly during the course of practice and qualifying, but obviously they've struck a chord, Higgs. It's going very well.
The trouble is for these teams that are trying to find their feet in the most competitive formula in Australia, under the regulations at the moment, no team is allowed more than 12 test days during the year.
They've already used up half of them.
Well, I was going to say that may be fine for an established team, but when you're coming in right behind the 8 ball like these guys, they've already used up 6 test days. They've got a hell of a lot of data they've got to try and collect to catch up. And it really is very difficult for these new teams to get a foothold.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. When you consider the database that HRT's working from, then you take the other extreme, Brad Jones. It's not fair, it really isn't.
You bear in mind there too, Barry, that this car is an ex-Tony Longhurst Falcon, and Brad and Tony have very different driving styles, so any data, if they did acquire it from Tony, is probably of not too much value to Brad, and they've been working at trying to get a package that works well for Bradley. Right now, Scaife leads. There is your Munro driver profile. Your pole sitter here, Mark Scaife, the 33-year-old from Melbourne. Of course, a memorable victory in the second race of the Clipsal 500.
I was just saying they're pulling away from Radicic. It looks a little bit like Radicic is holding Engler.
2.6 seconds the gap back to the Shell Ford. So this leading trio, we've seen it all year. 2 Holden Racing Team Commodores and Garth Tander, they're the dominant force in 2000.
I bet old Russell will be kicking himself that he didn't get a good start.
Well, it is difficult around this track. A lot of constant radius corners. And we do see that quite often when the cars get locked up in this train. Quite difficult to overtake.
Well, Russell said yesterday during the course of the Meet the Drivers briefing that he's got nothing to lose. He's languishing in 11th place in the championship. And right now he's going very hard. Mark Will, I should say, in the John Deere Commodore, having a brief off down at turn 4. Let's check him out on your Shell Helix race score. Mark Scaife and Craig Lowndes are top of the tree from Garth Tander and Paul Radicic. And it's Russell Ingall, Glenn Seaton, John Bowe and Tony Longhurst. They are your top 8. Neil Compton, Craig Baird. Greg Murphy has recovered to be up in 11th. And Brad Jones, a great job in 13th at the moment. Stay with us here at the Creek. Holden's running 1, 2 and 3 on the road in race 1 of the 4th round of the Shell Championship Series. Scaife, Lowndes and Tander, they are your top 3. Those of you following Mark Larkham's just how well he's going, I should say. He's had a bit of trouble, has been in for a stop-go penalty and just gone back out again.
Yeah, Holden Racing Team opening up. Let's have a look at the replay, Baz.
Oh, it's Paul Wheel. Well, basically just lost it in the story. Nothing to it. That's a shame for him because he's been really going very well this year and has learned a lot.
Yeah, he's shown a bit of speed on occasions. Yeah. But this is where the real speed is.
You look at the back end of Lowndes' car, it looks it's a lot looser than Scaife's car.
Yeah, these two drivers set their cars up quite differently. I know Craig likes a softer setup than Mark Scaife, and the car really does move around an awful lot on the road.
Problems also for Greg Murphy, the Kmart Racing Commodore. He's just come into the pits, so all that hard work. He was in position 13 in the Kmart Commodore. Not quite sure what happened. Now, we're being told that the officials are going through and having a good close look at the start, so it seems that these stop-go penalties that Larkham, Compton and Murphy's now copping could be related to jumping the start, which is very easy to do, I must say, here, because you tend to roll down. There's slight sort of inclination on the start-finish line here.
I was going to say, it might explain Murphy going from 18th to 11th.
Oh, that's very unfair. That's right.
We did make a sensational start, so maybe it was too sensational as far as the officials are concerned. They're very, very tough on jump starts.
It's a nice
supercar.
Freight train of forwards, a Seaton, Bow, Longhurst, Crompton and Baird all together.
Tell you what, Paul Morris is doing a good job there. He started out of position 27 and has moved up to 16th, I think it is at the moment, in the Big Kev Racing Commodore. In fact, 17th it is that he is on the road. Now they were having some... look at this, down the inside of Stephen Johnson.
Oh, they're going to fight about it, though. They did actually touch.
Yes, they do.
Coming through turn 9, now Cameron Mcconnell takes advantage of that. Stephen Johnson fighting back, though.
Well, at least they seem to have sorted Cameron's car out now. It was misfiring, getting over, as soon as it went over 5,000, under any kind of, oh, it looked a bit tight. Yeah, as soon as it got over 5,000, the thing kept cutting out and misfiring, so they had to change virtually everything because they didn't know what it was.
Well, Stephen Johnson's doing a terrific job so far, considering it's his rookie Shell Championship Series season, doing a full season. He has competed before in the odd round or two, but this is the first time he's launched a full campaign. He's currently 6th in the points.
I asked Stephen how he got the nerve trapped in his shoulder. He said, listen,
Look at this down the inside. Rodney Forbes having a go. Cameron Mcconnell as well. 3 wide down into turn 2. Oh, goodness, that was going to end in tears, and luckily it hasn't. And Forbes is the man who's profited from all that. A bit of a touch.
Did well to hang on to that, didn't he?
Oh, Greg Murphy gets the short back and sides. I mean, Rodney Forbes gets the short back and sides. That was very tough stuff.
Dear.
Oh, here we go. Anthony Tratt.
Problems there in the Toll Falcon, and he's slowing down. Looks like it's on the exit of turn 12, in fact. Now these two are off again. Look at McConnell and Forbes. So they're not giving up. Cameron Mcconnell, the 26-year-old from Victoria, former Australian Formula 4 champion, did it in 1992. Rodney Forbes finished 2nd in last year's Privateers Championship in the V8s, and this year a level 1 driver in the Wins-backed Commodore. Look at this down the inside at turn 9. McConnell has another look. These two are going at it absolutely hammer and tong.
Cameron Mcconnell, it's an important round for him in the championship with 3 laps remaining for our race leader. 26-year-old Victorian, right back in the points, 25th in the order so far.
Steve Johnson's lost his wing mirror, I think, Mark.
As a result of all that.
Yeah.
There's plenty of fisticuffs.
You're quite right there too, Mark. They're doing quite well with this Auto Pro Commodore. They're gradually coming to terms with it.
Well, that was, I have to say, the 3 of them did very well there, not to really get out of shape and bang. Yeah. Cameron Mcconnell did well in that.
Back at the front of the field, no change. Holden Racing Team running 1 and 2, but it's car 2 ahead of car 1. Scaife from Lowndes and Tander. Now Tander is close here, but it's so difficult to pass at Eastern Creek. That's the thing.
Yeah, I've seen it over the years. V8 racing here, you do get a few big goes happening down at about turn 2, but for most of the track, you really are locked in.
You know what Russell Ingall said to me the other night? He said, you know what would be interesting is to run this circuit in reverse, because that would change the radius of the corners of this place a lot more and would open up, he believes, a lot more passing opportunities. So there's something to think about.
Garth Tander could be in a good position here if he can get a good run onto the straight, because he's got both the HRT cars, so he should get a really good drag. He needs to be a lot closer than that, and then there's a possibility of getting up the inside into turn 1. Now watch. No, he's not close enough.
So as they come across the start-finish line this time around, there are 2 laps remaining. A great shot from
really
the Goodyear blimp, isn't it? Fantastic as they go right down into turn 1. Now, for all your V8 Supercar information, why not jump on the net and check out the V8 Supercar website, v8supercar.com.au. It's got race results, a whole heap of information about the championship. And while you're on there, why don't you check out the 10 website as well? I think from memory there's a link there to the 10 website, but if not, 10.com.au. All the sorts of information on 10 programs. A big fest coming up tonight. A lot of Tom Cruise movies happening, and well, those of you watching last night would have checked out Barry Sheen on Good News Week.
Oh my God.
The gap back to Paul Radisich now, 5.3 seconds. That leading trio are really monstering it. We go on board with the Rat, hard at the wheel, but just not fast enough here this weekend.
Yeah, it doesn't look as if Paul is holding up Russell, because if he was, Russell would definitely be making a bigger fuss than he is at the moment.
It's amazing how the times have pumped out too. They started off at 1:33.2. was Scaife's fastest lap on lap 3. We're now at lap 11, and they're all running 1:34.6, 1:34.7. So times have pumped out by a second over this race distance.
Jump aboard with the Rat in the Shell Helix Racing Falcon, working towards turns 11 and 12. And quite a gap between himself and Garth Tander, who sits in third place. Radicic currently in fourth, making his way out of turns 11 and 12 and on to the 1 kilometre long main straight. In the AU Falcon, this is where they rev it right out and up to 6th gear. He will get the last lap board this time around. As they come across the start-finish line, the HRT duo flash across, and so too does Tander. 1 lap to go.
Oh, Tander's... he's going to struggle. I mean, basically, there really isn't anywhere there unless he can get on good onto the start and finish straight, or maybe downhill into the hairpin. But
look at him having a look here.
He's so going to go everywhere, but it's so easy to stay in the middle of the road in this place.
And this is helping Mark Scaife immensely. There's now about a car length or two between these guys as they work towards turns 6 and 7 around the back of the Corporate Hill area here at Eastern Creek. No change in positions. Scaife holds command from Lowndes.
Very important round for Craig Lowndes too, because with those 2 failures in the car in the opening rounds of the championship, he's now 5th on points, about 162 points behind Tander. So he really has to start finishing every race if he's going to keep his championship chase alive.
Lowndes plays defensive. A bit of lap traffic coming into play here. Will it affect them between now and when they see the checkered flag? It's Scaife from Lowndes and Tander. Opportunities fast running out for our 23-year-old championship leader in the Valvoline Cummins Commodore. Right now he sits in third place. Lowndes plays again defensive, forcing Tander to do all the hard work onto the front straight for the final time. And this, I think, is how they'll finish. Scaife will take out race 1, checkered flag at the ready. Lowndes will finish second. A great result for the Holden Racing team, 1 and 2, and a good job also by Garth Tander getting home in third place. First of the boards home, Paul Radicic, so well done to the Kiwi. And then it's Russell Ingall, Glenn Seaton and John Bowe. That is how they finished in race 1 here at Eastern Creek. Another 2 13-lappers still set to come your way. A big day's racing, and the times, as Mark Osler pointed out, have been quite incredible. The best for Scaife was a 1:33.26. His last lap, to give you an idea, a 1:34.73. So during the course of that race, the times dropped off, and it'll be interesting to see, particularly in terms of tyre choice, just how things go in race 2 and race 3 here today at the Creek. Let's check out the Shell Helix race score for you at the end of race 1. Scaife and Lowndes from Tander, Radicic, Russell Ingall and Glenn Seaton. John Bowe up there as well in the Cat Racing Falcon, and Tony Longhurst rounds out the top 8.